Hi again. When I often talk about stuff with teams, especially when I'm dealing with adults, obviously in a workplace, trying to help managers become better managers and all that kind of stuff, I often refer to human synergistics, who do a lot of, take statistical data around managers' responses, people's responses to the managers, all that kind of stuff. And essentially, one of the key findings that I have with some of the data is that, they really focus on and I call them red brain responses, or you can call them fight or flight kind of tendencies, or people with personalities where the fight or flight, so either highly aggressive or very, very timid or wanting to withdraw kind of tendencies of a person's personality, has a massive impact in a negative way on their personal health and their personal effectiveness, their relationships, all that stuff is affected. And some of the stats are as high as 80% different for certain things. And you can certainly look up the data on Human Synergistics website. It's such a common thread throughout the work that I see from the Human Synergistic stuff, but then also the stuff even as a counsellor that I used to do, the training packages that I've developed over the years, and also, just discussions with people when I was doing research for my book, Lighting the Blue Flame, which is, ultimately aimed at helping kids who are being bullied at school kind of become more resilient, work as a group, work as an individual. At the end of the day, there's got to be multiple aspects of what we're going to do with mental health at a school level, at a home level, and as adults. When I'm dealing with adults at the work level, I can kind of articulate things maybe a little bit more than maybe with someone who's really young, where we want to kind of influence their environment and look at it from a very different approach, more of a proactive approach when they're very young, slightly reactive and a bit of change management for people who are probably in their teens. And then with adults at work, it's very much a change management model where they've already kind of got their personalities, their routines. They think of themselves as, this is what I'm like. So they don't necessarily look for change that much. They may not be enjoying everything about the aspect of their personality, but they also don't maybe understand, they don't know what they don't know kind of stuff. So part of the programs and the things that I've worked with adults in the workplace is really about them understanding themselves quite a bit, really focusing on am I highly aggressive? We've got to think of, that those two states of high aggression or being very, very timid are fight or flight instinct components of us as human beings. But they're both defensive. So when we're defensive, there's certain things that can't happen, right? So we've heard about, people putting their walls up because they've been hurt in relationships or stuff like that, for example. So there's a fear factor for them that they don't want to be hurt again. So they put up their walls and then they'll sabotage their relationships because they don't allow people in. They're actually imprisoning themselves within those walls, and they don't necessarily understand that they're doing that at a mental level. With aggression, it's quite the same. They'll push people away. They kind of have the mentality that I'd rather get them before they get me sort of stuff. So they go into proactive. They, might be very short with people. They might be very aggressive with people when they feel even a little hint of being attacked in some way, or kind of people are giving them feedback that they're not necessarily happy with. You see the aggression. So there's actually a pushing away component of that kind of mindset. And so the same applies, in managers. If you're a highly aggressive manager, you'll find that there'll be relationship issues with your team. You'll find people will leave your team, not want to stay with you. They may not bring it up. They may not tell you the truth if you're doing a good job because they fear, oh crap, Clint's going to go a bit crazy on me. So there's all these aspects of having that as your undercurrent. If you're highly aggressive, then, you should really look inward and say, well, how can I change the pattern for that? Creating a space before you actually act is a really important part of changing things. Stephen Covey talks about it in his books about, before you actually, so you have a stimulus, then you have an opportunity to react. If you can create some space before you react, you're more likely to get a better outcome. So with someone who gets highly aggressive, they feel their blood boiling, doing things to try and stop that or extend that, so you sort of think it through, which is where I use the blue brain activity stuff, where if you're thinking to yourself while you're getting angry, why am I getting angry about this? Why am I so upset by this? You're actually activating the blue brain to answer that. So it actually can keep you a bit more calm. It's just techniques, practicing it. If you don't do it now, but you want to practice it every time you get there, you can kind of, hopefully extend that and get to a point where instead of lashing out at someone, you might go, okay, I need 5 minutes. I'm going to go away and think about it. You start asking questions in your head. You might even want to write down why you're angry. By doing analysis work, blue brain activity will help you keep you calm. You can rationalize things a bit more rather than the moment of just doing something and saying something incorrectly. On the flip side, for those people that are very, very timid, that would want to say something when someone's maybe treating them badly or that kind of stuff, the thing for them is going, well, why am I fearful of saying what I want to say? If Clint's doing something nasty to you, why aren't I saying something back to Clint? Like, Clint, I don't like that behavior. I think it's unacceptable. Or, when you say this, it upsets me because, whatever. So understanding and using some of the tools like the dialogue model from the Crucial Conversations and How to Have Them book I mentioned in a previous post, those tools allow you to think about your fear in a blue brain way. When you're fearful, it's originally that fight or flight component. If you then think about it outside of using the amygdala, which is that red brain part, and you think of it in a blue brain space, you're more likely to get a better outcome. So when I talk about the human synergistics data, the ones that are most effective are the ones that do those things. They're not timid, but they're also not forceful in the aggression and their approach. They still stand up for themselves. They can be assertive, but can do it in a good way, using good techniques, and they get a better result rather than being aggressive. If someone does something that upsets you and you come at them with aggression, it's either met with more aggression, so you get two people blown up, or the other person backs down, but they're really affecting your relationship. So understanding that balance between being assertive rather than being aggressive are very different things, and being timid or being more group effective and socially smart and emotionally good at dealing with people, understanding and showing empathy for people doesn't mean you're weak or showing that you're timid. You're actually proactively enhancing the relationship stuff and hopefully lifting other people and giving them some kind of inspiration to do things better themselves. And understanding that is a really, really important part of building yourself up to be going, okay, am I happy with how I operate now? If I'm not, then there's some changes I can make, and there's some very good techniques that you can look into. Cheers.